Parkland, FLA. One student hit her record button while being led out of the school to safety by sheriff's deputies. On her way, her cell phone's shaking camera lens passed over several bodies sprawled on the floor. In another cell phone video, several dozen gunshots were audible not far away. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" one student shouted. Like many school districts, Broward County allows high school students to bring cell phones to school, so long as they don't interfere with class work. On Wednesday, many students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School held onto their phones for dear life as a 19-year-old gunman, Nicholas Cruz, stalked the grounds and fatally shot 17 people. They used them to keep their terrified parents informed about what was happening. And they used them to keep a visual record of an awful crime. Sarah Crescitelli, a freshman, was in drama class rehearsing for a coming run of the musical Yo, Vikings, when gunshots rang out. Hiding in a sweltering storage room with about 40 other students, she typed out a text message to her mother, Stacy, for what she thought might be the last time. "If I don't make it," she wrote, "I love you and I appreciate everything you did for me." Some of the alarming videos of the mass shooting were passed around via text message, while others quickly made their way to Twitter, where they triggered sensitive material warnings. One video showed officers with guns drawn, rushing into a classroom full of cowering students. The officers told students to put up their hands. One officer bellowed, "Put your phones away. Put your phones away." Parkland is the type of community where affluent young parents move to find verdant parks and pristine sidewalks for their children. Most everybody knows somebody at Stoneman Douglas High, home of the Eagles. A famous alumnus of MSD, as the school is widely known, is Anthony Rizzo, who plays first base for the Chicago Cubs. Sheriff Scott Israel, who was briefing journalists on the tragedy inside the school, has triplets who graduated from MSD and played football and lacrosse and ran track there. Sheriff Israel said one of his deputies had learned that his son had been injured in the attack. State Representative Jared Moskowitz, who graduated from MSD in 1999, sends his 4-year-old to a preschool down the street. The high school, with more than 3,000 students, is almost a city within a city, with airy breezeways and an open courtyard. It bears the name of Stoneman Douglas, the famed environmentalist who crusaded against paving over the Everglades. "It's surreal," Mr. Moskowitz said. "People don't come to Parkland to open a business. They come to Parkland to raise a family. They come to Parkland to send their child to an A-rated school. They come to Parkland to live in the safest community in the county." Every morning at Stoneman Douglas High begins with an affirmation, which is read over the intercom. On Wednesday morning, the affirmation began with the word life. "Life supports me in every way possible" were the first words students heard that day. The announcement went on to speak of Valentine's Day, and how everyone deserves a safe and healthy relationship. The Astronomy Club announced that it was celebrating Black History Month on Thursday night with a showing of the movie Hidden Figures. But that event was postponed, as Stoneman Douglas cancelled all school events and called in grief counselors. Melissa Fakowski was teaching a journalism class when the fire alarm went off at about 2:30 p.m. It had been activated shortly before the shots began, perhaps an effort by the gunman to sow confusion. And it was the second time the alarm went off Wednesday, after a fire alarm earlier in the day. "Everyone is annoyed because we'd already had one today," she said. "It's unusual but it's not unheard of," because sometimes someone in culinary burns something and it might go off 3 times in a day. There also had been a drill a few weeks before, an active shooter drill, the kind many schools now do. Dutifully, Ms. Falkowski followed the fire drill protocol and filed her students out of the classroom to their appointed gathering spot. One of the school's security officers told her, "No, it's a code red. Go back." In geometry class, Gabriella Figueroa, 16, a junior, had been working on angle bisectors when the alarm sounded. As she neared the exit doors, she heard the first gunshots and ran back to class. "I was shaking and praying and saying, 'God, please get me out of here,'" she said. Ms. Falkowski took 20 students into a closet reserved for photo gear. Some of the students began to sob, but most stayed quiet, texting in the dark. It got so hot that they had to crack the door open periodically to get enough air. Finally, after 35 minutes, they heard noises inside the classroom, and then a voice, "This is the police. Is anyone in here?" The shooting had happened in a different building. None of them had heard gunfire. Most of the 17 children and adults who died remained unidentified by the authorities as of Wednesday night. One of the complications, the sheriff said, was that the students' identifications were still in their backpacks, which they had left behind in the havoc.